This is Gene Adam, former lead singer of Iced Earth. Be sure to subscribe to Podcast and Stone, and don't forget, join our community on social media. Metal lives.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Iced Earth community, welcome to Podcast and Stone, the only podcast 110% dedicated to Ice motherfucking Earth. I'm Chuck Hoskins, and with me, as always, is the majestical Jason Brett. Jason, how are you today?
I'm really good, thank you. Hello. I'm majestic? When did this happen?
I'm incomparable. You got to be something. If you're wondering why I did the intro today, it's because this is my week. This is my week of just waving the tribute to the gods flag. And I do. I love this album a little more than Jason. So you're going to hear all different types of opinions today from us as well as the Iced Earth community on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
It's a good one, Jason. I can't wait to start talking about it.
I can imagine this record is going to divide a lot of people. And I have very kind of mixed thoughts. Like, it's weird. Like I was saying to you off air, like we had so much to say about Demons and Wizards last week. I don't feel I've got much to say about this record, but we can get into it when we do. But
yes.
Do you have personnel available for this record? Because I don't, because I've only got one screen.
I could pull it out here. Rhythm guitar, John Schaefer. Lead vocals, Matt Barlow. James McDonough is on bass guitar. Richard Christie is on drums. And Larry Tarnowski is on lead guitar. And I think guest musicians, as always, is Jim Morris. He did a couple solos and backing vocals. We need to get him on.
Cool.
Last time we had contacted him, he said he would do it, but he's been very busy. So,
man, it's Jim Morris. Man, he's a higher. He's been in the business a long time, so he's got to be a sought after engineer, right? He knows his shit.
He does.
Go bring up this note as well. This is the official last album with Larry Tarnowski on lead guitar.
Yes.
And it's Matt Barlow's last album until he returned at the butt end of 2007. So we go a long time with that. Matt, obviously we've already done those kind of retrospectives after this record, but we should have maybe snuck this in maybe chronologically, but we didn't. But oh well. Same with Days of Purgatory, we didn't put that in chronologically either.
Yeah.
But
that's okay. Well, I'll talk about this. And this is one of the ones that I had pre-ordered. At the time, this was part of the Dark Genesis box set. Is the only way that you could get this.
Yes,
I remember pre-ordering it, and I'm thinking it was $49.99 at the time. But I was so excited. I totally got it for this and the Enter the Realm, because I already had the other 3 CDs. So I remember just the anticipation of getting it, and finally I got the message that it arrived at home, and I couldn't wait. And I think I might have even took a vacation day the next day off work because I was so excited. But it was so cool to be in a box set like that where you have not just the typical greatest hits or, the same recycled songs or whatever. This was a great idea to put that in there, to have, 11 new songs. And it was such incentive to get that. That was very great marketing by John on this one. Did you get the Dark Genesis first, or did you get the CD alone first?
Dark Genesis, because as I brought up before, I got the self-titled. The first thing was self-titled as a gift. Then my friend bought me, I think it was for my 15th or 16th birthday, I can't remember which, but he bought me the Dark Genesis box set for my birthday. And again, like that's the first time I kind of heard the Tribute to the Gods records. It was probably like the album that I listened to the least out of the box set. Obviously, I think the one I had on the most out of the box set was probably the first album I listened to when I was younger. I listened to the most. Obviously, the Storm Rider grew on me a lot more. But yeah, I didn't really listen to Tribute to the Gods. It's weird because I've got a very kind of I've got a odd opinion on covers, which I might as well get into now.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get into that before we go into the breakdown. Do you just not like covers, or do you like... To me, there's two types of covers. There's straightforward, just here's our version of that song, kind of pound for pound, and then there's a reimagining, kind of like what Disturbed is doing right now. And they're kind of the masters of kind of taking a shitty song and just making it their own. To me, those are the two types of covers.
See, I've got kind of a different take on that. Like for me, I think a cover song, choosing to do a cover is really good for beginner artists, for beginner musicians, because it helps you hone your craft and learn your instrument. So I think I think covers are valuable in that aspect. And I tend to only really want to listen to a cover if it's a song, if it's one by a band that I love, and two, a song that I love as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, this band's covering this song, I need to hear this. Do you know what I mean? So there are certain songs off a tribute that I was like, oh, I've got to hear that, you know. Number of the Beast with Matt, I've got to hear that. You know what I mean? But there's nothing on this record that really screams like, oh, this is amazing. To me, it's just like, it's a very much like middle of the road release. And and for me, I don't know, I just feel like it was just a I could be wrong. We have to ask John when he's on next, but it feels to me that it was just like, right, you know, the band's coming out of the contract with Century Media. They want one more recording out of us. Let's just do a covers album. That's what I think. But I could be wrong. John could come back and say, no, I wanted to do that. That was the plan. Like, I really wanted to do it. So we don't know. But the way I see it, it just feels like a very kind of middle down the road filler release.
I really could not disagree more with you, because some of my favorite artists have done this, and I always look forward to... I mean, I know we've talked Metallica several times on this podcast. They're kind of the masters of garage songs. They've taken so many songs and redone it, and, you know, from different artists that we've never heard of. And I think it's a part of rock and roll. I mean, if you look back as far as even to Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll is what they used to call him, he did covers all the time. So now you've got an album where Iced Earth is doing Black Sabbath. If you look back to early Black Sabbath, they were doing Blue Suede Shoes back with Ozzy. Have you ever seen that video of them doing that?
No, I haven't, to be fair.
So you got Iced Earth doing Ozzy doing Elvis did everybody else. To me, it's just a part of rock and roll.
I don't want to get too negative on this, but there's just something about... Let's move away from rock and roll and metal for a minute and look into the more kind of mainstream music climate, right? There's artists in the mainstream music industry that make a name for themselves and make their fortune by doing a cover of someone else's song, and they become megastars. Now,
Disturbed, Five Finger Death Punch, Marilyn Manson.
No, I'm talking about like mainstream, like pop and artists. No, say there's a song that I know, and I go, oh, that's by that person, but no, it's not. It's actually by this person 35 years ago. This person you think it's written by is covering it, but her version has become like the go-to version and is like super popular. I'm like, okay, that doesn't sound very nice. Like, she's made money off of somebody else's song. Like, she's blown, like, basically. I don't know if that's just the industry in general, but I just feel about like artists that become super successful, where with cover songs. I just think it's a cheap way of gaining success. Like my band, we, my two members in my band, they always try to go, oh, what cover songs can we do? I'm like, can we just not? Can we go? Because we've covered stuff like Gangster's Paradise by Coolio and Spice Girls and Thundercats theme tune and stuff like that. But as fun as it is to play, I'm just like, can we just not? Because I don't want to be known as, oh, that band that played Coolio's song, I don't want to be that band. I want to be a band where it's like, oh, that band that played that really cool song, that's awesome, like, their own song. As a singer, I rather take originals over covers any day of the week, and nothing really gets me hyped for covers. There's some covers where I'm like, yeah, I need to hear this to see what they bring to the table. But that brings us to Tribute to the Gods, where they're literally copying the songs beat to beat, and there's nothing really changed about the songs, or they've not really put their stamp on them, and that's why I don't really feel much about this record. There's no statement of intent there.
Are you?
I'm being serious, yeah. I'm being deadly serious.
This is the episode where we're going to disagree more than any other episode, just so you know. I couldn't disagree. I was listening to this in my car today, and I was on my way to work, and I'm listening to Screaming for Vengeance. It's track number 6, and Matt's just going crazy. He's being Matt, and I'm like, I'm 6 songs deep, and I love every song so far. To me, every song that is on here has that Matt, John, Larry stamp on it. I mean, did they change it up a whole lot? No. But this isn't mainstream pop. They didn't have to pop it up and disturb it up for airplay. This was John saying, this is a tribute to the gods. This isn't a tribute to the Cranberries or these cover songs that are out there on the radio today. These are the people that made John want to strap on a guitar, made Matt pick up a microphone. To me, I hear that my favorite band is doing songs by Kiss, AC/DC, and you might feel a little different about this because of our age difference, but to know that Matt's getting the vocals on a Black Sabbath song, I don't know how anybody's not excited about that. I don't know how people could be Magoo about Matt screaming for vengeance. Good Lord, I was excited at 5:30 this morning in my car listening to it. I'm like, why isn't people talking about this song every day? So anyway, I love it. I think it's great. I think every song has their own little iced earth spin on it. They didn't have to change it up a whole lot. I think if they would have slowed Hallowed Be Thy Name down and made it like acoustic and tried to change it, because people are saying it's the same way, I think they'd be complaining about it too. I don't like that acoustic version of Hallowed Be Thy Name. That's a fast song. Why is I don't know. That's just my opinion. I love it. I think it's great, and we're going to get more into
my point. My point being, when I said that this release, I just feel it's a filler, middle of the road record that doesn't really have the iced earth stamp. If you compare it to the latter day covers they've done, you'll see what I mean. Like Mob Rules, The Trooper, like they have more of an iced earth stamp on them than any of these songs do on this record. To me, in my opinion.
Those are great songs. Stu just totally nailed those also. Do you think you like them more because there are not so many of them? There's just 2?
Probably. I don't know. I don't know. I just like nothing's ever attracted me to this release. And I have it as a completionist. If I didn't care about owning the entire catalogue, I probably wouldn't have this in my collection. But I have to have it in my collection because I'm a collector. I need all the releases. And bringing up that in a collection, like the fact that I've got it on cassette is probably the rarest thing going, as we spoke about previously. which is crazy to think it's like super rare on cassette. But you know,
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I have positives to say.
I know.
But as an overall package, I don't think it's anything to write home about.
Now, see, to me, I like it so much that I would put it in their album count. Like if rate the Iced Earth albums, I would put that up there as an album. That's just me.
Is it me? Am I slowly getting darker and darker?
It just got darker on you.
Don't know why. My webcam's fucking up to date. If you wonder why I'm in black and white, it's because my colour's gone all weird on my webcam, and now for some reason, it's going really, really dark for no reason. Oh, this is wonderful.
That's because the gods are frowning upon you for not enjoying this record as much as mine. Look at how lit up I am, enjoying tribute to the gods. I don't know. To me, covers are always just really cool. I mean, do I want Iced Earth to release 4 tribute albums in a row? Of course not. I like them for their music, but I guess I've just always been a part of it. All of my favorite bands have released either cover songs or, if not, entire records, and I enjoy them. I think it's cool to hear them do popular songs that I know, and I love it when they bust out a song that I don't know, because it's like a brand new song. And I know a lot of people, when Plagues came out, that Highwaymen, a lot of people wasn't familiar with that song. I was, so it was cool to hear that take, but it was kind of new to people. So I like it on both ends, where I like hearing stuff I've never heard before, and I love hearing, classic, great songs done by my favorite band. So I guess I can go both ways. So let's go into a track by track before we show off our collections. And there is a lot of viewer feedback on this subject, so it wasn't just us that was disagreeing with each other. I'll start this.
Sorry, I was going to say, I don't think there's any point me showing my collection off because my camera's gone weird and all you see is blackness.
Okay. I'll show mine twice.
Have I gone really dark on your end as well? Because like on my end, I'm almost a silhouette. I'm literally almost a silhouette.
Yeah, you're kind of a shadow.
Ooh.
Kind of shadowy.
It's almost it's worse than Matt Barlow in a cave. I've gone to the dark side.
He was so dark that day.
So look at me, look. I'm literally a silhouette.
At least you're staying the same now. Now, see, when you go back, you can see a little bit better. See, that's better. Just scoot back a little bit.
My webcam's fucked. This is funny.
Okay.
I feel like one of those, like, victim interviews where they've been like shouted out so they can't see who they are. They're like, yeah, well, this happened. Sorry, I'm losing my mind.
Show us on the doll where they touched you.
Here, everywhere.
Okay. Tracks. Creatures of the Night. I'll start this one as the Kiss guy. I think it's a great opener. Kiss used that for many tours, opening up the live show as well as their Creatures of the Night album. I think it sounds great. Matt's voice was incredible on it. Everything was right the way it should be. Great drums. Loved it. Your thoughts?
I'm not familiar with the Kiss version, so I don't know if that weakens or strengthens my opinion. I thought it was fine. I thought it was quite an upbeat opener. Yeah, like you said, Matt sounds really good. Is it an 80s song? Because it's got a super 80s vibe to it.
82?
Oh, yeah.
It was the last album they did with makeup before they stopped.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's very 80s sounding.
Fair enough. Track 2, one of the highlights for me on this album, Number of the Beast. I think that Matt owns it. I think that it's the best version out there of this song, and I love Maiden. I just think it's great. Like I said, to me, to have Larry, John on guitars, and Matt singing, it's awesome. Number of the Beast sounds great. And what you said before, I totally agree that Stu put the two Mob Rules and the Trooper are fantastic, if not better, than these as well from the Dystopia sessions.
Number of the Beast, I think it's really good. I think Matt sounds really good. I see, like, obviously there's some songs on this record that I don't really know the original bands or listen to the original songs per se, but like band like I can't imagine, like, okay, I'm just gonna say it, like I don't think this is better than the original. Like Number of the Beast by
Fair
Maiden,
enough.
like really, like nothing can top the original, man. Like in my opinion, like yeah, this
I
is so good. But yeah, Matt sounds really good. It's kind of, it has a different vibe on it. It's more kind of like his baritone on there in places, and it's a bit different. Well, from a vocal standpoint, but when it comes to like the music, it's pretty much beat to beat.
Track listing wise, would are you glad they kind of picked the Maiden hits, or would you have rather them went with deeper cuts?
It's weird because I'm weird when it comes to like Maiden. I know we're a nice surf podcast, but we can't help but talk about other bands as it is a tribute album. Yeah, when it comes to I'm more of a fan of the kind of like 2000s albums like Brave New World and Dance of Death.
And
So I'm
beyond?
so I'm
Yeah.
well. I think it's weird because like I do like the 80s stuff. Obviously, they're classics like yeah, Number of the Beast. Peace of Mind is great. Power Slave is excellent. Seventh Son is like one of the best albums they've done. But like yeah, I find myself kind of resonating because the early 2000s albums were the first that I heard, Brave New World and Dance to Death. I really resonate with those two albums in particular. But I think Maiden has dropped off big time recently. I don't really resonate with them. But like what are SF gonna pick, man? Like they're Johnny's picking tunes that he grew up with, and obviously these gonna tunes
I know.
gives Number of the Beast, and they're probably they're the big songs that were probably part of his childhood. So it makes sense.
Right. Okay. Highway to Hell. I'll start this one. I'm a big AC/DC fan growing up. I think it sounded great. It's a cool riff. It's a just an epic song, and I think Matt sounds great on it. I think it's a great rocker, and it's a little bit out of their, you know, gallop metal, and I think it sounds great.
I think Matt sounds really good, but I've never liked the original, so I don't really like this either. To be fair, just never liked the song in general. So it doesn't matter who's playing it, I'm never really gonna like it.
I have that same comment coming up in a few songs. Okay, track 4, we have Burning for You. I absolutely love this song. It
Hmm.
kind of reminds me of Shooting Star from Melancholy, and it's just a really cool kind of rockin' 70s songs that really highlights Matt's vocals.
Have you heard the original by Blue Oyster Cult?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I've got the
oh yeah.
album. I've got the album on vinyl with it on. And yeah, that whole album's great. The band Blue Oyster Cult, they're great, and this song's
Used to be
great.
on the radio all the time.
Uh, yeah, I really like this one. It's one of the highlights of the record on this, I think.
Absolutely.
Again, there's nothing, groundbreaking. They're pretty much playing the song how it was played, but I think it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Matt sounds great. That's the main positive I can say is Matt sounds really good. But it's Matt Barlow. When he's not going to sound good? That's the question. Oh yeah, Divide Devour. That's one song. Anyway,
I think they needed to turn up his vocals on Transylvania. You can't even hear him.
that's a bad joke.
Okay.
That's a bad joke.
Okay, track number 5 is another Kiss song. I'll take this one, God of Thunder, with John on vocals. I think it's heavy. It's got the evilness that it should. It's crunchy, and they make it even bigger. I love it. I think it's outstanding. A highlight for me. Jason?
I thought I heard the original, so I've got nothing to gauge this on. So
Well, I mean, how do you, there's nothing wrong with that.
I liked the guitar tone. I think John's guitar tone across this whole record is really good. It's got
I agree.
it's got a bit of, it's really meaty on it. It's like,
Um, Track number 6 is the absolute highlight for me. Screaming for Vengeance, a Priest song. I think it's outstanding guitar, thrash. It's everything that I think that's probably the most Iced Earth. If you didn't know Judas Priest, I would say that this was the song that would most sound like Iced Earth. Do you agree?
I love Priest, so my
Which album is this off of again?
Screaming for Vengeance, yeah,
Oh,
title album, yeah. I never thought about wanting Matt Barlow and Judas Priest, but I want Matt Barlow and Judas Priest.
And we're going to do a melancholy special later on, but he absolutely nailed the Ripper on that one also. So that to me that's a highlight. If you're on the fence on this album and you haven't heard it in a while, or if you haven't heard it ever, go listen to Screaming for Vengeance. Good Lord, outstanding. Number 7, Dead Babies, Alice Cooper.
Weakest one on this, I think. I don't like the song, so I'm just like, I've not heard the original either. I'm a bit lived under a rock, clearly, but yeah, I've not heard the original, and there's nothing about this cover that makes me want to listen to the original. I just think it's kind of boring. I'm very negative on this. I do apologize.
I'm going to 100% agree with you.
Oh.
Even Matt couldn't polish up this turd. It's just I don't like the song, and it's not that Matt doesn't sound good or that it's bad, production or anything. I just don't like the song. I think there's other Alice Cooper songs that I do like, and I don't know if this one was just. I don't know why they picked this one, and it does nothing for me. I've never heard the original, and it's the only one of the 11 that I skip as quickly as I can get to that skip button. So, Cities on Flame, another Blue Oyster Cult song. Jason?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I don't know what else to say really. Like I said before, I've got positives to say, but like I said, like there's nothing really attracting me to this album because it's just literally they play the song how the songs are played and it sounds fine. It's good. Like what else do you want me to say really? Like
now,
yeah.
For me, I was aware of the other Blue Oyster Cult song, but I had never heard this one, so this was new to me.
Okay.
When I first heard it, and I don't know that I've ever went out of my way to find the original. I like it. I like the riff and everything. I think that it sounds great. I enjoy it a lot. I think it still has that old 70s kind of feel. It's kind of cool to hear them not thrashing out all the time. I really enjoy the track. Number 9, It's a Long Way to the Top. I dig it. It's I wonder why they did kind of the 2 2 and 2 and 2 pattern and not kind of space it out more. You know what I'm saying? Because there's 4 bands with 2 songs on here.
Yeah, that's the thing, like as well, which really baffles me. Obviously, we're talking about this long way to the top, but they've got Dead Babies by Alice Cooper and Black Sabbath by Black Sabbath. I'd rather have another Black Sabbath song over Dead Babies.
Which one would you? I don't know.
I
really enjoyed the one on Melancholy. That was called
Electric Funeral.
Yes, that was great. And that was the only cover I've ever seen them play live that was ever recorded by them. They've never played any of these songs live. Are you disappointed by that, or are you glad they don't?
I'm glad they don't. I've already gave my opinion on covers.
See, I
So
think if they closed out a show one night and did "Hallowed Be Thy Name," I think that'd be cool as shit.
they end Violate with the Trooper riff live.
That's
No,
not
or is it
a full song.
Stygian? Or is it Stygian? I forget. One of
They
the
I think
songs.
they've done several songs with the Trooper ending.
Yeah, yeah. See, I like
I mean,
that. I think that's cool.
I'm not saying I want Stu to put on a red coat and wave a flag or anything like that, but I think if they busted out with one of these songs, it'd be a cool thing to see. Okay, Black Sabbath. That's a heavy ass song. I dig it. I think that Ozzy's version is just that's one of the oldest metal song. I mean, when you look back to kind of the origins of metal, you got to think about that early Sabbath, and that's what influenced. I mean, I remember listening to it as a kid and going, "Wow!" I mean, just wow. I mean, that and War Pigs, and
Like this song in particular, Black Sabbath. It was like heavy metal was evil. Like this, that's what it was, wasn't it?
yeah,
Because Ozzy was like he worked at like a cinema, at a theater, and he wanted to kind of make music that was scary, that was like horror films. And that's kind of the idea of that's where the kind of conceptual side of heavy metal began. Um, I don't know. It's weird. I was listening to this earlier, this Iced Earth version, and I can't help but feel like, is it me or do they play a little bit faster?
the first one's pretty slow. I don't know. It's been a while since I heard the original.
Yeah.
It seems like every time I hear the original, it's like a live setting. Because sometimes I'll see stuff on YouTube or whatever. I'll check them out. I don't know. I dig it. I think it sounds great. I think it was a great selection. 11 is probably my second favorite track on there. Hallowed Be Thy Name. Um, Larry sounds amazing on his solo. It's as thrashy as it should be. Um, I enjoy it. I enjoy the shit out of it. When I hear Number of the Beast and Hallowed Be Thy Name, I almost wish they would do like a Dream Theater and do the whole album. I really enjoy it. I think that Matt's vocals is perfect for that. And I'd love to hear him do other ones. Your thoughts?
I think it's the best song on the record.
It's my second favorite.
I think they saved the best to last, personally. Yeah, I think it's really good.
And Matt still enjoys covers because he did 2 on Sentinels and 1 on the new Ashes, and they're all 3 amazing. We'll get to those.
I want to get into covers that I enjoyed, that I do like, because I know I've got that's what I said. I'm in two minds with covers. They're really good for beginner people that want to pick up their instrument, and I really gravitate to covers that are songs by bands I love, covered by bands I love. So, this Tribute to the Gods is a bit of awkward because I don't love all of these bands particularly, or know them. So it was kind of like, yeah, it's all right, It's like I can take it or leave it. I don't really listen to it ever. So I would say, in closing, just track by track, the best thing about this record is the album art. I love the album art for this album. So good.
Have cool artwork.
I love it. I love the album art. It's so good.
Is yours a jewel case or a?
I have both. I have
Digi.
I have the jewel case and the digipack.
Is your digipack or is your jewel case Icarus?
How
is it sealed?
How it's not sealed. I just got it.
Mine has the.
Oh, on the back. No, mine's Century Media.
Okay, because I found this on eBay years ago, and I got it from like some country. I can't even remember. It took like 3 months to get to me, and I remember I had forgot I had even ordered it by the time I got it. I was like, "What's this?" Because I hate digipack. So mine is Icarus. So I do also love the artwork.
Like we were talking about, I've got that cassette.
I'm still looking for it.
The thing is, I reckon it's a bootleg. Because on the back it says Mojo Records. www.mojorecords.com. It's either a bootleg or it's a small company got the rights to pull it out on cassette. Because you know the companies like Flogger Records where we got that box set from.
Right.
Like I never heard from them. I never heard of them before they put out the Ice Earth cassette box set, right? But they put out so many different special box sets for bands that they must be a small company that just gets exclusive rights from companies to put out these editions. And I just got a feeling maybe either this is a bootleg, a really good bootleg, or it's just a limited small run release that came out, no one thought about it and didn't really care because CD was dominant at the time, and it just kind of, that's why we've never seen it, only the one time when I bought it.
If it's a bootleg, it slipped through the cracks on Discogs because Discogs still has it as it doesn't say it's discontinued or whatever.
I mean, it's in English and stuff. I haven't.
I'm still looking.
See, I haven't unsealed it. Shall I unseal it and have a look?
If you're never going to listen to it, I wouldn't.
Yeah, I'm not going to listen to it. It's got Enter the Realm on it though. It's Tribute to the Gods
that's so cool.
and Enter the Realm. It's on it's got both of them. It's such an oddity.
You may be the only person in the world that has all three pressings of Enter the Realm on cassette. Do you know that? I'm serious.
It's so cool, isn't it? It's so awesome.
Okay. Now, and I'll show this now.
I didn't think about that until you just mentioned. That's made me really happy.
I hadn't thought about that. This is one of the favorite pieces in my collection, signed by one John Schaefer. What I think when I hold this record is that it screams out that it's not 180 gram because it feels so flimsy, doesn't it?
It's very thin, yeah, it's very thin.
But I love the sleeve being color and stuff, and mine's a little dusty, but this I haven't seen this on Discogs or eBay since I bought it. Yeah. That's been about 10, 12 months ago.
I bought mine from Discogs.
These aren't showing up at all. Do you think Century Media will ever re-release it?
It's very odd because you would have thought it would have come out with the other re-releases that they put out, but it never did. So I don't think so actually, because that means that I don't think they will, because think about it, they've got to give John that royalties, and they also have got to give every band that's on it royalties.
Give a whole round of
maybe they don't want to because it'll cost too much money.
Now he did mention that Melancholy might see the light of day on vinyl though, so you would think that would be in the same boat.
I know what you mean.
That'll be
They re-released. They done that Slave to the Dark box set, didn't they, in 2008? And it had the covers on that as well, didn't it? So maybe it's not an issue. I don't know.
I'm going to pull up the viewer thoughts here. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of them. A lot of people are getting their Demons and Wizards exclusive sign packages, and those look absolutely stunning. I know my buddy Lou Sass showed his green one today. Did you see that picture of him holding it up against the light?
Really cool.
It's amazing. Good Lord, it looks sweet.
It kind of makes me wish I got them, but I'm so skint right now that if I wanted to, I couldn't get them. But I'm kind of just like, I'm all right, just sticking with my black vinyl.
I was lucky enough to get them colored, so I'm very pleased with mine.
Wasn't your Crimson King black?
No, it's blue. You'll be seeing that very soon.
Oh, see, your photos don't do it justice then. Your photos make it look like it's black. Oh.
In America, we have this store that's in malls called FYE.
Right.
And the 200 there was 200 each and the self-titled was purple, and the second one was blue. Like, and they don't even show those colors in those like Century Media videos where they're pressing out all those different colors and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They're not even in that.
Interesting.
So, okay, we've got a few to get through here. So, Lou Sass, which we just talked about him, says it's the only release from Iced Earth I do not care about one bit. So, and a few comments on that one.
I agree.
Sean Lawyer, cool dude I've been talking to lately. Tribute to the Gods is fun. I don't understand people who get upset by covers. As a dude that dabbles in the realm of guitar, it's fun to hear a different take on a classic. The Maiden covers are great. Barlow slays the vocals. God of Thunder's Creature of the Night and Burning for You covers are my favorite versions of those songs. I agree. Not a big Kiss guy, but I can see why Schaefer digs them. Every other song is good too and faithful enough for the originals for me to enjoy alongside them. I think the album is a lot of fun. The artwork is cool. Production is great. Barlow just never disappoints. And it was great to hear Iced Earth outside the demonic element. That is a very well thought.
Now, he says like he doesn't understand people getting upset about covers. I'm not upset. I'm just saying that I'm just.
I don't think he's talking about you.
Well,
a lot of people in
why would you
yeah,
be talking about me?
A lot of these people just. I don't think they beat up on it. They just don't care about it or indifferent.
I don't really care. I don't really care either. To be fair.
Some guy named Adam Ortiz.
Who's that?
I think it's
Is that a new guy?
I don't know. I think he hacked our Instagram. I think it's a fun idea, but I'm sure they did it as a filler to get out of their contract at the time.
That's what I said.
I like the covers Iced Earth did with Stu, Mob Rules, The Trooper, and The Highwayman. I think it would be cool to do a covers album of non-metal songs that everyone likes. I would love to hear a tribute album with Stu, but with everything that's going on, I don't think we're ever going to see it. They had mentioned it at one time because I remember seeing an interview on YouTube with John and Stu, and he was talking about picking songs that we wouldn't expect this time. But I don't know.
Like what? Baby by Justin Bieber.
I don't think he meant that. I just meant kind of more like what Disturbed does, picking songs out of the metal. I mean, these are the gods. I think they were thinking more less godly. Okay, Tony Savage says, a good idea for discussion. You should expand it to discuss all recorded cover songs Iced Earth has done, i.e. Ripper, Funeral, Highwayman, The Mob Rules, Transylvania. We're going to have our own for Melancholy, but we kind of touched on those other ones. Okay. Aaron Philpott says, I love it. I would love to hear them do another tribute album. Tribute to the Gods isn't something I listen to very much anymore, although I am listening to it right now, and it's bringing back some wonderful memories. I love how our episodes kind of get people on the same playlist that we are for that week. The Kiss covers are amazing. John makes God of Thunder his own, and Matt Barlow singing Creatures is absolutely magical. He takes it to the next level. The band executed Hallowed Be Thy Name superbly, and that itself is no small feat. It's absolutely huge, I agree. Burning for You is another favorite of mine of the album, and it's a bit like Shooting Star off the Melancholy EP. That's exactly what I said. Being a Kiss fan, these Kiss covers were like nuggets of gold to me. I think Iced Earth could cover any song and make it sound great, but I think they'd be well suited to covering The Oath, Under the Rose, and Tears Are Falling. These are Kiss deep cuts, some of them. I would love to hear them do another tribute to the gods. Well said. Okay, Douglas Rosander says, while fun to hear Iced Earth takes on these classic songs, the album as a whole seems kind of redundant, as the songs don't differ much from the originals. There are some cool parts. Honestly, I think it's John's playing that I like the least about these songs. It sounds somewhat lifeless or stale in a sense. I also don't like the mix, and I I think the guitars are too loud, and the bass heavy. I think it's mostly negative things I have to say about it. I'm sure they had fun doing it. That's his opinion. He did say, I do like covers of Shooting Star and Electric Funeral. Don't mind the Trooper Mob Rules. Not a fan of Highwaymen. I love the Highwaymen. But, I mean, everybody has their special songs that speaks to them. The next one is from Sean, the Promo King McConnell. I can appreciate some covers, not full albums, though. Just a song or two here and there are definitely don't need to have a whole album. That's kind of what you said earlier. I like the way some bands have done in the past, add a cover or two on the single releases. My favorite Iced Earth covers are the older songs such as Shooting Star, Dead Babies, Cities in Flames, Burning for You. I don't like the covers of more modern songs like Maiden, Priest, AC/DC, and Sabbath. My preference is to improve or modernize or just add a twist from the original, which I think Iced Earth does for the most part with the guitar tone. It's pretty amazing to hear Barlow singing Creature of the Night. The voice fits him well. So getting all kinds of different aspects, kind of some stuff we've said as well.
Yeah.
Christopher Ellefson. I don't think the covers really add anything new to the originals, and I find them quite boring, to be honest. Even though the band does a fine job playing them, it's just not anything mind-blowing. It would have been cooler to hear the band cover tunes outside their comfort zone, or at least do them differently. There's really no reason for them to hear the cover of Number of the Beast in the same way when I could just listen to the original.
Yep, I agree with
that. I don't, but I mean, I'm not mad at your guys' opinion. Matt Barlow singing that. Come on. John on guitar. You don't want that? I do. Richard Clark. I first heard of this album, like most people did, via Dark Genesis box set. The album contains first-class covers of songs by bands, most of which I don't care for in the least, and I honestly prefer to listen to most of these covers even over the original versions of the original bands. I had this one on repeat in my CD player for a long time, and I love it. I agree. Aaron Holland says it's a good album to put on at work when you can listen to a full-on metal. I pretty much like every song on here better than the original. I agree. Dave Montez Dioca. Nice reason for me to revisit this album. Cheers. We only got a couple more here. Brandon Stone is my comic guy. I always message him when I got comic book questions. I personally love covers. I love to hear what a band can bring to songs we already know and love. As far as tracks, the Kiss and Blue Oyster songs are the highlights for sure. Dead Babies is a cool track that wasn't a monster hit before. The others are cool to listen to, but not necessarily tear the house down. Shooting Star is probably my favorite cover. We're going to get to that. Let me see. And Highwayman was a surprise for me. I love me some Johnny Cash and Willie Nelson, but never really got into the supergroup. Iced Earth's version is pretty cool. And the fact that you get Russell Allen, one of the best vocalists, period, and Michael Poulsen to contribute is an awesome treat. It made me want a John Schaefer-esque Santana album where he collaborates with several different singers. Interesting. Think about it, songs with Russell Allen, Michael Poulsen, Matt Barlow, Gene Adam, John Greeley, maybe even Bruce Dickinson. And he said he would call it Shantana. That's kind of funny. And the last one, Stephen Culliff says, honestly, I really only like Creature of the Night, and I don't even like Kiss. I don't care for the sound of the album. The covers of the Melancholy EP sound better. The twangy bass on Tribute is a turnoff. So you got a little bit of every different thing. You got some people that love it, some people that can take it or leave it. You got some people that kind of wish they would have mixed things up more. I still stand by, if they would have put a twist on these songs, people would have said, "What did you do to that?" I mean, we'll never know. But I think if you change these songs up too much, people would be like, "I don't like that."
Um, you're not gonna please everyone, man. You know.
No, and I mean, we like I. That's the reason why I love our Facebook group, Podcast and Stone. Look for us on Facebook, is because I love hearing people talk about the band, both positives, negatives. This is what I always wanted, was a haven for Iced Earth fans to share pictures, share thoughts, record reviews, show pictures. I love that stuff, and we now have that. I want to see people getting their new colored vinyls in, and sharing. Oh, I got my. I mean, it's so cool to see when people all across America are getting their notifications that my album's been shipped. That's so cool to me as a fan to know. All right, this is, people over here is getting it now. It's come. It's so cool. So thanks again. That's like the third week in a row where we've had a lot of feedback from the viewers. That's so awesome.
Yeah. I also want to talk about a big thing coming up for me this week. This Sunday.
Sunday.
This Sunday at London's Islington Academy Hall, Demons and Wizards come to my city, and I'm really excited, Chuck. I'm excited. Like, literally this Sunday, my friends.
I am very much close to pulling the trigger on getting that ticket to go see them in Chicago.
Do it. Do it or regret it. It's one or the other.
I was talking to my buddy last night. He goes, "If you don't do it, you're going to regret it for the rest of your life."
Yeah.
I was like, "I know I will." So I think I'm going to end up going. It's going to be a little bit of a road trip, but
just do it, man.
Fuck it.
I do it. I'm glad I'm going. Especially now I've given the first album a really good listen, and I'm really excited to hear that stuff live. And they speaking of covers, they do covers themselves, which is weird because you would have thought, is it a cover if the original artist plays it? That is the question of the day, because
we've asked that question before.
I know. It's because even they called it a cover, because if you saw their set list, it says Burning Times Iced Earth cover. So in their minds, they're covering Iced Earth, even though it's John Schaefer playing it. It's weird. I think it's a weird kind of like grey area where it can never be explained.
Well, I was looking through YouTube the other night at just different Blind Guardian songs, and there's several songs that they've done a lot of covers in their catalog too. I don't think they've done a full-on covers album, but they've done some really unique covers, and there's been one cover song on each of the Demons records. We can't forget about that either. They did a White Room and an Immigrant song on the second one. Will there be one on the third one? And that's something, Demons Part 2 will probably be our next retrospective, correct?
Yeah. I'm down for that. I've already been listening to it. I've already kind of got my rough thoughts down on it, more or less, Chuck. So I'll just give it a couple more listens and that, and
I will definitely be. Now that I could put this one away, I've been listening to this one nonstop for a good solid week. I could put this one away and start focusing on that one. So,
I tell you what, man. Like, since we came back and did Agent Curion, I've really just enjoyed doing this week in, week out. Like, we've never really kind of
stuck to a week schedule.
Stuck to that schedule, but we're I think we're working hard to make the time, and I think people are appreciating it, because we've had so much engagement, and we're so close to 500 subscribers. It's unreal. So if you haven't subscribed, guys, man, seriously, subscribe to the channel, because we're gonna hit that 500 milestone. It's gonna feel awesome. You know?
And we are, if you're still with us this late into the podcast, we are working on some interviews. People are busy, so we're going to get them when the time is right. So we are going to get back to the guest spots. So those will be coming up eventually. Some new, some repeats. So we got some very cool retrospectives that I'm looking forward. We've got the Matt Barlow solo stuff. We've got 4 records there to cover. We've got Witherfall. We've got, I want to do Stu's.
Into Eternity.
What are the 2 albums called?
Into Eternity.
And I mean, what's the albums called?
Scattering of Ashes. And,
yes.
And oh fuck, I forgot what the second album's called.
Yeah. I still need to pick those up. That's the perfect excuse I need.
I forgot what the second album called. My bad. But yeah, those 2 albums are really good. You should grab them. They should be dirt cheap, man. You should be able to grab them for nothing.
Right. I think I've seen them for... Well, the one is released on vinyl. I find myself listening to vinyl a higher percentage like every day. My CDs, I barely even... Other than the car, I don't even listen to them anymore. Do you find yourself going the vinyl route also?
Oh, yeah, obviously. There's albums that I have on CD that are not on vinyl, so I have no choice but to listen to them on CD. But even with CD, like if I've got them on CD but they're on Spotify, I tend to listen to them on Spotify because I'm out a lot, so I'm not always home. So I tend to use Spotify a lot when I'm not at home. But if I'm at home, I usually it's cassette or vinyl for most of the time, to be honest with you. I have a random question.
Yes.
You've seen pictures of my Iced Earth jacket.
Yes.
It's so close to being complete, right?
Yes.
Now, I've seen pictures of Adam Ortiz's jacket, and his one looks great. Adam, like, you know, you try and say mine looks cooler. It's not a competition, man. We're both... I think mine looks awesome, yours looks awesome. But there's one detail about Adam's that I noticed. I'm like, interesting. He's put on his Iced Earth jacket. He's put on the patch we got in the Luke Appleton album release. So he's got the Luke Appleton logo patch. Is that something that you would consider that I should put on my jacket? Because it technically is Iced Earth related, but it kind of is sort of not. Like,
see, I've always kind of, like, when I put my CDs together, I'm kind of anal about they have to be stacked within the release date, you know, down and stuff. I've always put Kiss side projects with Kiss. I've got my Luke Appleton and Jacob's Well and, you know, Witherfall right there with my Iced Earth. So to me, everything is under that Iced Earth umbrella. To me.
Yeah.
So I think if you had...
the thing is, my jacket is like a dedicated tribute to Iced Earth. Obviously, I've got the rose patch that I made, and I've got the Purgatory patch on there as well because it's part of their evolution. It's part of the vision. You know, it's there for a reason. It's where they came from. But I just feel like putting that Luke Appleton patch on there, it can't. I don't know if I personally, like Adam, you can do what he wants, you know, it's his jacket, but for me, I don't know whether I want to put it on there. I've got the space that I've got no patch left that will perfectly fit it. It'll
see.
I don't know,
to me, it works. First of all, Luke's awesome, and second of all, he's 20% of Iced Earth. I mean, when you think of it that way. And I hope he's there until the band shuts down.
Yeah.
So I would put it, but I mean, if I had a battle jacket, I would also have, you know, Ashes of Ares on there. I wouldn't. To me, it's the same umbrella.
I'm really upset that I don't have it with me to show you because, like, it's so close to being complete. Like we've got the front is because obviously I put a photo of the top half, the back's finished, the top half of the front is finished now, and today me and my mum we just sorted out the bottom half of the front, and it's gonna look awesome. But I've got this one space where I could put another patch, and I don't have a patch. The only patch I have that's Iced Earth related is that Luke Hamilton patch. Now I don't know whether to use it.
Did you put your Ashes of Aries patch on there that I sent you?
No, that's gonna go on a different jacket.
Okay. I mean, ultimately it's up to you. To me, it's under the same umbrella.
Yeah, but for me, the jacket isn't about. It's not Iced Earth related. It's Iced Earth. Like, I know. Seriously, you've never seen so many Iced Earth logos in your life. When you see this jacket, it's Iced Earth logos everywhere because it's like all on the patches. But that's besides the point. Dragged that out a little bit too long. But covers.
Ultimately, it's up to you.
Going back to covers, obviously as part of this conversation. I just want to talk about just random covers by people that I generally like.
Okay.
Roadrunner Records, I think it was their 25th anniversary. They put out a DVD of different artists from different bands kind of coming together and doing their own versions of other people's songs. So you had like a bunch of people from different bands and Corey Taylor doing a cover of Sick by Slipknot, for example, right? I'm not talking about that. I'm going to talk about what I consider to be the Iced Earth related stuff, which is Tim Owens singing Annihilator's Alice in Hell and also singing King Diamond's Abigail, and how much he just fucking nails it, and he's so good. Look up the footage, Chuck. It's fucking great.
Oh, I've seen it.
Oh, it's so good, man. Oh, my God.
I have a bunch of. One day I was just playing around on iTunes and I looked through, and he's got a lot of great covers on iTunes. He's got a Beatles cover that's fantastic on there, Hey Jude, and he does some Ozzy songs. He's got a Maiden song. I think he does Flight of Icarus. So he's really good at doing cover songs.
And Hell.
So yeah.
You know, he was made aware to Judas Priest because of his British Steel band, his Judas Priest cover band.
Right.
You know, Tim Owens. And he's called the Ripper. He's called the Ripper because of Judas Priest as well.
Right.
You know.
He's great at covers. Yeah. There's a few radio covers that I really like. There's a. Have you heard the cover of the song "Zombie" by the Bad Wolves?
No.
I enjoy that. I kind of see that as the Disturbed ripoff because of course you've heard the Sound of Silence, right?
Yeah.
I mean, do you like that, or do you think it's kind of just? Yeah. I kind of root for anything on the radio that's rock, even if I don't love it. Does that make sense? Because I want rock out there. I don't want everything because to me, pop and rap these days is all garbage. So so when I hear Disturbed or Five Finger Death Punch or Godsmack or something like that on the radio, even if I don't love the song, I'm rooting for them because it's good to hear rock on the radio still.
Yeah. Extending from that kind of viewpoint, I know it kind of moves away from what we're talking about, but I think you've brought up a really good point. I know you get like these elitist people that are like, you know, death to false metal, blah blah blah, but like I don't know how you can be negative about a metal band getting radio play. That's a win for the fans. Exactly. That's a win for all of us, because the more that heavy metal and heavy rock can be on the airwaves to the general populace, we could, you know, there could be younger kids, there could be older adult people that could discover this music and these bands brand new and become fans. You know, like
seems like No, I don't know a lot about Five Finger Death Punch, but don't they release a lot of cover songs?
I don't know.
Because I know
I
they've
don't really
got
know
one right
them.
now. Blue and Black is on the radio a lot right now, and I think I've heard other cover songs by them. But I mean, I think I call it kind of the. I think Disturbed's got a great. I don't love Disturbed. I think they're okay. But as far as picking cool older songs and spinning them their way to get radio play, they're very good at that. They've done that a few times now,
Yeah.
and it's the new band Bad Wolves that does that song Zombie. It kind of sounds like they are totally going with that same formula.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
There's
making people hear something from 15 years ago or so, and they're like, "Oh, I know that. That sounds modern. That's kind of cool." I get the appeal to that. That's instant gratification. It's like, boom, here's our new song that you already know.
see like
You know what I'm saying?
like it's yeah. There's one thing that I was going to bring up as well that I think kind of sums up my opinion on covers in general. Like, say I don't know, example, death metal band covering another death metal band song doesn't make sense to me. Because of course they're gonna sound fine. It's gonna sound great because they're a death metal band covering death metal. Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, one of my favorite covers ever. Right, this is ever. I'm not into covers, but when a band does it really well, I really enjoy it. Right. One of my favorite covers. If you've not heard this, Chuck, you need to go listen to it because it's fucking great. One of my favorite covers is Children of Bodom's cover of "Oops, I Did It Again" by Britney Spears. It's so
I've heard
good.
that.
It's so good. I love it.
I've heard that because I sometimes when me and my wife are hanging out, we'll listen to YouTube or whatever, and just sitting out on the deck or whatever, and I'll throw in some covers because she likes industrial music sometimes, kind of like
I've got another question for you actually. Right.
yes,
As you're the Metallica fan, I would argue you're the bigger fan than me, right? When it comes to Metallica,
right.
and you were saying they are like the kings of cover songs, right? Did you like Trivium's cover of Master of Puppets?
I don't think I've heard it.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Is it? I'll listen to it. Is it kind of different or the same as theirs?
Is more of the same.
I've heard some people do like I heard Korn do one. Did you hear that? That's amazing.
I heard that.
That's really good. I've heard Disturbed do it. I've heard Godsmack do Nothing Else Matters. Very good. And I've heard Lemmy do Enter Sandman. That's kind of interesting. From Motorhead. As many times as they've covered Motorhead, to hear Motorhead cover Metallica, that's kind of interesting. So like I said, I mentioned before, I kind of like it both ways. I like the instant gratification of, oh, I know that song already, but at the same time, I like them pulling a song out that I've never heard before, because then it's always their song to me. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Like I love the song Bread Fan. The first time I heard it from Metallica, I was like, I don't know that song. That's great.
It's
And then
like
you hear it years later and it's awful. But how did
it's
they see that vision?
it's very strange, right? I'm gonna say this. People can disagree with me, but I think you know Diamond Head, right?
Sure.
I only discovered Diamond Head through Metallica.
Same as me.
I can't help but feel like Diamond Head got a massive rub because Metallica covered their songs. Would you agree?
They got a massive what?
A massive rub, as in like they got over because
Oh, sure,
Metallica covered them.
absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, they had some underground hits and stuff. I mean, they were, if that was your genre, you knew about them, but I mean, no way. I mean, I'm sure they've got some cars bought for them, and had their catalog pushed big time because people's like, oh man, I know Am I Evil?
Hell, my band played with them, so there's that.
I remember that.
Yeah.
So,
So,
I mean, I've heard the one thing about that's interesting about Metallica is most of the songs that they cover, I've heard the originals and I do not like
Interesting.
because to hear like some of their old songs, like have you ever heard the original version of Blitzkrieg? I think it's awful.
I actually really like Metallica's cover of Whiskey in the Bottle.
Whiskey in the Jar,
That's
yes,
it. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's my favorite one off Garage
I,
Inc.
I, I like the video as well. I think the video is really good.
So, and then I think it's I think it's cool. Metallica still goes to the covers. They still play them acoustically. They still pop up. They had 4 or 5 Ramones songs off of the St. Anger sessions that are a little more less known than their more popular ones. But a lot of bands do it here or there. Some do the whole on covers album. Some just sprinkle it in here and there. I like it. I think it's a welcome addition to me always.
See, like I said, I think covers are good for the new instrumentalist that wants to learn their instrument. I think covers are good for like really small time, pub bands that are playing, that are trying to make a name for themselves. Like my band, for instance, we've been together 5 years. We're still trying to, we still haven't kind of gotten out of our local scene yet because we're still trying to penetrate different territories. Yeah, getting people on board, getting promoters on board and stuff, and playing covers at a small show in front of like punters at a pub or whatever. That's a cool way to break the ice a little bit. I'd rather not. I'd rather people get to know our original stuff. But if you bust out fucking Spice Up Your Life and get the people dancing about, it's quite fun.
Sure.
So I think for small time bands, I think covers are great to get your name out there. But also there's a double edged because you don't want to be typecast as, oh, that band that covers Spice Girls. I don't want to be that band. I want that. I want to be that band when they say, oh, that band that has that awesome guitar riff in that song they got, or that awesome drum fill or something. So it's a double-edged sword for me. I think we've gotten a lot of attention because we played certain covers like Spice Girls, Gangsta's Paradise. We covered a System of a Down song as well, Sugar. Do you know that song?
Sugar, yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
we covered that as well. That when we debuted that into our set list, the place just popped. It's people just jumping around, and it was really fun. But yeah, it's I have a mixed, like, you probably can tell that I'm very kind of contested on covers.
I just know. I mean, I disagree with the small thing or the starting out thing because I've seen lots of established Rock and Roll Hall of Fame acts that could be at stadiums and still pull out an old Stones song or a Zeppelin song, and people go crazy. It's cool. I think it's a huge part of rock and roll, and I've always loved it. So
Speaking of covers, right? It's before we wrap up, I know we're running on time here. What do you think about tribute bands that all they play is covers?
that's funny you say that
That's
because
how
I
they.
actually have 2 on my concert agendas right now.
Okay, cool.
I think they're great, and I'll tell you why. 2 months ago, I took my son to go see a band called Mr. Speed. It's a Kiss tribute band. So they're made up in full makeup, got the heels, got the paint, they're drooling blood, they got the axe guitars. Me and him walk into that venue, same one I grew up in. I seen Motorhead and Anthrax in when I was a teenager, way back in the days. So I get to share that and kind of pass that torch to my son. And we go and we're front row and we're having a blast. And we're out with both of us at $10. And today's concerts, I think that's so cool. I'm taking him again to go see a Metallica band called Battery. in a couple months. And he's seen Metallica live already. But to me, it's fantastic to go see a night of a band that you like's music for a very low price.
Now, was that?
Sometimes what you would go ahead.
Sorry, I was gonna say, was that Kiss band authentic in terms of like, were they, was it like
Oh,
you were watching the real thing?
absolutely, they're fantastic. They were actually voted the best tribute band, Kiss tribute band in the world. And for them to, and what I also love about tribute bands is a lot of times they differ from the set list.
Hmm.
They play deep cuts. I mean, you go see the Metallica one, and you're going to hear Leper Messiah. You're going to hear, Fight Fire with Fire, all these deep cuts. I'm not, imagine seeing an Iced Earth. I wish there was a tribute band that would come to my town. They would play like Mystical Inn and all that stuff. So to me, that's the cool part about cover bands, is that, and some people in today's concerts, they can't afford it. Tickets for Metallica when they came to town was 150.
Hmm.
I wasn't going to pay it,
Yeah.
but I don't mind paying $6 to go see a cover band. And and sometimes I'll go see. I've seen them for AC/DC, just 80s hair metal. I've seen Ozzy ones. I've seen a Motley Crue one. I think they're fantastic. What are your thoughts on them?
I've not seen that many. There is a couple that come over here a lot. I don't know if they're. I think they are based in the UK. I could be incorrect though. There's a band called the Iron Maidens, which is an all-female Iron Maiden
They were here
cover
not that
band.
long ago. I missed that one though.
They're really good. It's a cool kind of spin where it's all women, so it's like
Hmm?
it's a cool spin on the Maiden formula, and they smash it. They're really good. There's a band that my band are going to be supporting later this year. I think just after Christmas we're playing a show called Motor Headache, which are a Motorhead tribute band. They're really good as well. We were thinking of covering Motorhead, but we thought playing a Motorhead song when we're supporting a band that does it for a living, I don't think that'd go down well, because they'll probably just like
They
be,
would probably they'd frown upon that probably.
and they'll probably just outshine us as well. So there's no point.
Yeah. So I like them. I think they're cool. I think anytime you
Yeah.
go here, I mean, obviously they're not going to be the band. I've seen an Iron Maiden one that was fantastic. I mean, they played like 3 hours of just deep cuts, all the stuff I know and loved,
Hmm.
Blaze stuff, Paul's stuff, Bruce stuff. They were amazing, and I think I paid $5 to get in. Are you kidding me? I mean, that's awesome. So yeah, I support tribute bands.
Yeah, I thought to myself, we can't talk about covers without really talking about the bands that all they do. That's their job. That's what they get paid
Yeah.
for. You know,
So
like
yeah, I've
hell,
seen.
wedding bands. That's their trade, isn't it? To
Sure.
play
Right.
songs that for people's weddings. And
And I mean, nothing against people who do original music, but if I'm at a pub, a small club, a rock club on a Saturday night or whenever, I want to hear them do Breaking the Law. I don't want to hear them do an original I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
I suppose.
That's just my opinion. That's me. So, so I'm pro covers. I love them. I think they're have always been a part of rock. I think people, whether they play to 50 people or 50,000, it's fun to play a cover song. It's fun to throw it in as a Japanese track, or if you have a 6-song EP or 11-song EP, I think it's fantastic. I think it was a great addition to the Iced Earth catalog, and I enjoy it to this day. So, and if you don't, you know what John says about that. Don't listen to it.
Yeah, we all have our opinions. We're allowed our opinions. It doesn't mean John Schaefer's gonna give a shit.
Right. Just a couple days ago at the Demons and Wizards press conference, he goes, "I don't really care if you like the new Demons and Wizards album. I like it." That's what he said. I laughed. That's John.
Much respect,
So,
much respect to him, man. Like,
yeah.
Like we all do what we love first. If people like it, that's cool. Like, we didn't start this podcast for people to like it. Obviously, we did it for us, but we obviously we're so grateful that people are loving what we do and
Right.
bringing everyone together and having iced earth conversations is really great.
Right. I get texts every day from people asking, various questions. Did you hear about this? Did you see this picture? Look at this green record. I love it. To me, it's exactly what I always wanted. So,
Iced Earth, still the best band in the world, even though this tribute
yes.
album is rather mediocre, in my opinion. I still love them. I will continue to love them. Demons Wizards on Sunday. I can't wait.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear about it. You need to tell Hansi we need to do an interview.
I can't wait. I'm getting there super early. I'm going to meet John. He's told me to bring whatever I want to get signed, so I'm going to bring a bunch of stuff to get signed. I'm going to get him to sign my battle jacket as well. The back t-shirt bit. Hopefully he's got a silver pen so it can be seen. I want him to sign the back of that. And yeah. It's going to be good. It's going to be good shit. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it.
Can't wait to hear about it, sir.
I'm going to be meeting up with. Hopefully, if we can bump into each other, I'm hoping to meet up with fellow podcasting group people, Fraser Bowdry, David Emsley, and Philippe. I can't pronounce your surname, but you know who you are, Philippe or Felipe.
Yes.
Anyway, those guys, meeting up with them. Hopefully, if I can remember, if we bump into each other. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be good. I'm going to take a fuck bunch of those business cards with me and give them to people.
Save me one next time you send me out a package.
Yeah.
Because you're supposed to send me out that horror show CD.
What?
The live one.
When was this
Remember?
agreed? When was this agreed on?
A long time ago, you told me. Anyway.
Okay. All right.
Off-air discussion. Yeah, it's really. I think at the Incorruptible show, I think I met 5 people from our group there. So it's so cool to meet, people and that you feel like but you don't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Me and Steve from the group is going to go see Sanctuary next month, and that'll be our 3rd concert together since we met. So I'll be getting all my Witherfall memorabilia signed that night by Joseph, hopefully with Jake right behind him.
You're going to be a little kid, aren't you?
Absolutely. Why wouldn't I be?
Anyway.
Why wouldn't I be? Take us home, Jason.
I was going to go, take us home, Chuck, because you've done the intro. Take us home, Chuck.
Okay. Thank you for watching our tribute episode. This was a lot of fun. Don't forget to hit subscribe button, hit like. If you want to visit us on Patreon, you know what that's about. Any amount helps us out, helps us grow. Jason does a lot of stuff behind the scenes on the computer stuff and keeping stuff available that costs a little bit of money. So if you could help us out with that, and stay tuned for more episodes. Join our Facebook group. We have been the incomparable one and the majestic one. Don't forget to stay metal, because fucking metal rules.
See you later, everyone. Majestic. Majestic.
You are the
Chuck.
majestic one. That's...